In this video, you are going to learn about 2 zoom techniques that you can utilize within CapCut that are instantly going to transform your videos. And by that I mean you're going to be able to grab your audience's attention right away as soon as you start using these zoom techniques. Because grabbing your audience's attention visually is just as important as grabbing their attention with whatever you're talking about. So if you're ready to improve your content and keep your audience's attention, let's jump right in. The 2 zoom techniques that you can utilize within CapCut are going to be the jump cut zoom and the keyframe zoom. And both of these zooms are something that I've already utilized within this video. The jump cut zoom looks like this, and it is much more of a harsh zoom in. It's something that happens right away. There is no smooth transition from the zoom. It's going from this angle to this angle right away. Now the keyframe zoom is something that is much smoother. If I start utilizing the keyframe zoom, it will start to look something like this. Now as you can see, there are differences with the keyframe zoom and that jump cut zoom. Now how exactly do we do these zoom techniques within CapCut? The first zoom we're going to talk about is that jump cut zoom. Now if we come into our CapCut app, we're going to need to come to a new project, have our footage already uploaded, and as you can see, I have this video that is just me talking to the camera. I'm going to want to utilize a jump cut at some point within this video. So when I find the spot where I want to utilize the jump cut, all I'm going to want to do is come to that certain spot. Let's just say right here. We tap on the actual footage, make sure that is highlighted, and then when we come to the bottom left of our screen, you're going to see split. So what we're going to want to do right here, we're going to press on that, and that splits this clip into 2 different sections. It splits it exactly where we had our line stopped on our timeline. Now the portion we want to have zoomed in is going to be the second section, so we're going to tap on that again, make sure that it's highlighted, and then all we have to do is come to the picture itself, the video itself, and as we see, there is a blue highlight around that. That's how you know you are on the right clip, you are on the highlighted clip itself. And what we're gonna wanna do is use our fingers to just pinch and zoom in. So we're gonna pinch, zoom in, and we're gonna wanna make sure that we stay within the frame. So that is what this is, and if we come to the rest of this clip, you see that is what I am inside the frame the entire time. So if I come back to a little bit before the zoom happens and I press play, you see that the zoom happens, that jump cut zoom just happens. Now let's say I don't want this entire clip to be zoomed in like it is. I can just come a little bit further down and I can tap, make sure that it's highlighted, make sure that this clip is highlighted. Gonna come back to the bottom left, I can press split again, and then I'm gonna wanna make sure that the second half of this clip is highlighted because that's what I wanna make sure isn't zoomed out anymore. So as long as that is highlighted, I can come back and pinch and zoom back out. And I'm back to where it started before the actual zoom happened. So if I come to the beginning of this clip and I press play, you're gonna see how it's gonna jump, zoom in, and zoom back out. You see there's the first zoom in, and now it's about to zoom back out, just like that. That is how you utilize that jump cut zoom within CapCut. Now again, this is something that is fairly simple to use. All you have to do, make sure you have the right clip highlighted, and then you just pinch and zoom in. It's that easy to actually utilize this jump cut zoom for any video that you're making within CapCut. Now we're going to move into the keyframe zoom. Now the keyframe zoom is something that's going to look a lot smoother. It's something that is going to help you build more intensity within your videos. It doesn't really matter what the video is about. That slow zoom in, that slow zoom out, or you can do it quick. However you want to do it, that is something that builds more tension within the video regardless of how you actually utilize it. So to do this within CapCut, we come back into our CapCut app. We make sure we have our project uploaded. And you see I have this second half of this clip, and if I just scroll along, nothing's happening. I kept the camera about the same spot the entire video so that I can actually show you the example on how to actually utilize it. So we're gonna highlight this clip that we want to do the keyframe zoom on. We make sure it's highlighted. We're going to want to find the point where we want the video to start zooming in, and then we're gonna want to find a point where we want the video to stop zooming in. So if I want this zoom to start happening at the very beginning, make sure I'm at the very beginning of the clip. Make sure that clip is highlighted, and then I'm going to come to this diamond section that is right above the timeline. So if I come to the diamond and I press on that diamond, that is adding a keyframe. Now, if we look at the timeline itself, I have a red highlighted diamond on the clip itself. Now, if I move off it, it's not highlighted anymore, but the keyframe is there. That is indicating where we want the zoom to start happening. So if I come further along the timeline, about halfway, and then I would say I want the zoom to stop right there, I'm going to come back to the diamond. I'm going to press this diamond again, and then you see, again, it's highlighted. Let's say this is exactly where we want that zoom to stop. Now for the zoom to actually take effect, we're gonna wanna come to the second keyframe, make sure that it's highlighted, and you're gonna know it's highlighted because when you scroll over it, it's going to be red. That means you are going to be able to make that edit however you want so that keyframe knows exactly what to do. So we're gonna come to our video itself. We're going to do our pinch and zoom technique again. So we're gonna pinch and zoom in, and I'm gonna make sure I'm still in the frame. That is indicating how far you want the zoom to go. Now from the first keyframe where nothing is happening to the second keyframe where it's all the way zoomed in between that smooth zoom in is going to happen. So if I scroll back to the beginning of this clip and I press play, you're going to see that from the first keyframe to the second keyframe, that slow zoom in is going to happen. So press play. As you can see, the zoom is getting closer and closer. And when I reach that second zoom, that second keyframe, actually, it stops. And so let's do that again. Let's see it again. Now, if we pay attention to the timeline, I am starting on the first keyframe and we know we're there because it's highlighted. So I press play and it's going to continue. And until that second keyframe, boom, that's where the zoom stops. That is how you utilize that keyframe zoom. Now, let's say we wanted the zoom back out slowly after that slow zoom in. So what I'm gonna wanna do is come a little bit after that second keyframe. I'm gonna wanna add a keyframe again. And that's going to tell CapCut, hey, I want to start a different type of zoom at this point now. And then I come to the end of the timeline and I add that second keyframe again by pressing the diamond again. And this is telling CapCut at this last keyframe, this is where I want that last zoom to end, that zoom out that we're gonna do. So again, all we need to do is make sure that the clip is highlighted. We come to the video itself, we do our pinch technique to zoom back out. There we go. That is indicating to CapCut, because this second keyframe is highlighted, that this is where I want the video to end. This is how I want the video to end and how I want it to look when it reaches this second keyframe. So again, if I come to this first keyframe and I press play, you're gonna see that the slow zoom out is starting to happen. And when it reaches that second keyframe, you see the zoom stops. Now, if we play this whole clip from the first, the second, the third to the fourth keyframe, you're going to see the slow zoom in, stop for a minute, and then the slow zoom out. So press play, the slow zoom in starts to happen until it reaches that second keyframe, the pause, then that third keyframe, now it's starting to zoom back out until it reaches that fourth keyframe. There we go. That is how you utilize the slow zoom in, zoom out technique with your keyframes. Now let's say I wanted to make the slow, steady zoom in a lot faster. All I would have to do is put the keyframes closer together. So if I get rid of all these keyframes and I wanted to make a zoom happen from here to, let's say, right here, all I would have to do is just add those keyframes where I want the zooms to happen. Again, I want the zoom to start here, but I want the zoom to end right here. So I'm going to just pinch and zoom, and you're gonna see how much faster that smooth zoom in happens when I press play. So I press play, you see how much faster that zoom actually happens when you put the keyframes closer together. But again, with the keyframe zoom, it's still a lot smoother than that jump cut zoom that you saw earlier. So it really comes down to exactly the type of zoom that you want to use and how you want it to look in your video. And these are things that you really want to just experiment with and see what your audience responds to better when you are putting your content out there. But once you get these zooms down, it's going to make your content that much better to look at. Your audience is going to appreciate it because it keeps their attention. It catches them off guard and makes it feel as though though, oh, something is always happening in the video, even though the camera itself may always be stationary. So that's something to keep in mind when you are creating your content. How am I going to incorporate these types of techniques to help my audience remain on my content that much longer? So that is all I have for you. Now, if this was a video that you liked, if this was a video that you appreciated and maybe you learned something from this, be sure to leave a like, be sure to leave a comment, let me know, leave any questions you may have about CapCut, maybe even growing on social media. Whatever questions you want to ask, leave them in the comments below. If you're not already subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because I'm gonna be putting out videos like this all the time to help you out, to help you become a better content creator, to help you become that social media savant that you really wanna be. But other than that, I got nothing else for you. My name's Steven. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.